right, y'all, it's Friday, and let's have a Fryday Conversation. All right, here we are, y'all. Here we are, another Friday Conversation. And y'all, tonight, we got Joe's Kansas City Fries. I think we did episode 2 from Joe's. But we got Joe's Kansas City. I would say that Joe's Kansas City Fries are in my top 3 French fries of all time, my favorites. And I usually say, that French fries, the best French fries, don't need dipping sauce. But Joe's Kansas City barbecue sauce is, I think, one of my favorite barbecue sauce. So you pair my favorite fry with my favorite barbecue sauce, and what do you got? You got the perfect combination here on Fryday Conversation, y'all. We got a perfect combination. Y'all, tonight's conversation, on Fryday Conversation, we are the ones that have a tough conversation. On Friday nights, we have this tough conversation because no one else is having this conversation. No one else is having this conversation, so we gotta have it. Y'all, tonight, we're talking about the American Airlines crash, the tragedy. Oh, it's so terrible, y'all. It's terrible. And what I'm going to talk about tonight's probably, as we always do on Friday Night Conversation, it's going to be controversial. It's going to be something that some of you don't like. But we have to talk about it. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So the tragedy, obviously, because it's a tragedy, it's something that we didn't expect. We didn't anticipate. And this conversation that we're going to have tonight is the same conversation that seems to come up when all tragedies happen. We're going to talk about the uncertainty of life. We're going to talk about the uncertainty of this tragedy. We're going to talk about that people now, especially people that have anxiety and people that are afraid of flying, all kinds of anxious thoughts are coming up about, okay, what if I get on a plane, I think things are safe, and what if I get on a plane and this happens to me, right? And so I don't want to take anything away from the tragedy. My thoughts, my prayers go out to everyone that's involved. It's awful, and unfortunately, these things happen in life. I remember having the same conversation with you guys after the Chiefs parade, right? After the Chiefs parade and the Chiefs rally when we won the Super Bowl last year. And we had the same conversation. We had the same exact conversation that we're having now a year later. Is that unfortunately, this is life. This is life. Tragedies happen. Life is fragile. And life is uncertain, y'all. Life is uncertain. A lot of us, most of us, want to try to create certainty in our lives because it makes us feel better. Yet we're unable to create that certainty in our lives. And so tonight, I just want all of us to understand that while you might feel anxious and you might decide that, oh, I can't ride a plane anymore because what if this happens to me? That's anxiety talking, y'all. That's anxiety talking. As I've done a little bit of my research on this topic, sure, there were things that could have been prevented. Understand maybe they were understaffed. But here's the thing. These things happen all the time in all places, right? Like human error, or just things happen where, okay, now there is a chance that something tragic could happen. And life just plays out that way. And if you let anxiety start to creep in and give you all these what ifs, then anxiety's won, and you start to limit your life, and you start to say, okay, I can't fly anymore. Well, if I can't fly anymore, well, then I can't travel anymore. If I want to travel, I'm going to have to drive. Well, that limits where you can travel, right? And this what if, this anxious brain starts to play tricks on you, and your life starts deteriorating. And so tonight's conversation is about understanding, first off, just recognizing that this was tragic and it's an awful situation. Second off, is that life is uncertain and it's fragile. And then third, what do we do? What do we do now that, okay, well, these what ifs are coming up. I'm feeling anxious about flying. I'm feeling anxious about just doing things in life. You still got to just keep doing whatever you're doing. That's the thing. That's the thing, is that you just got to keep living life. You got to keep living life. Sure, take your standard precautions. But just things are going to happen. Things are going to happen, and we can't plan for them. If we could plan for them, then these tragedies wouldn't happen, right? And so you have to embrace that life is just uncertain, that life is tragic, life is fragile, and you still have to do it. And also think when you're thinking life, when you're thinking about like how hard life is, think about how grateful you are at the same time for this life that you have, right? Anxiety's tough. It will creep in, especially for those of you that have anxiety around flying. It's a true fear. It's a real fear. I work with people all the time that struggle with flying, and then you create a situation like this. Now it's a double whammy, y'all. It's a double whammy, because there was that fear of flying, and then now you're like, oh, okay, but Randy, look, now here's a situation. You've told me all along that, hey, you know, that's anxiety talking, but now I've got a real life situation that says, no, flying is dangerous. I get it. I mean, I don't think anything or anyone's perfect. I think there's situations where things are going to just fail, okay? That's life. And also at the same time, we have to look at, just because something is possible doesn't mean it's probable. Okay, is it possible that you're flying in a plane and it could crash? Yes, it's possible. Anything's possible, okay? It is true. And if you live your life in fear of something is possible, you're going to be afraid of everything. But here's what I want you to focus on. Just because it's possible doesn't mean it's probable. Okay, there's a difference. Everything is possible. But when we look at probability, the likelihood that it's going to happen, the probability is a lot less. Do you guys know when the last time that we had in the United States a plane crash that caused casualties? 24 years ago. 24 years ago is the last time. Think about the probability. Think how many planes go up in the air every day, right? No crashes. No crashes. Last 24 years, right? Think about how many cars are on the road every day, and think how many car crashes there are every day, right? So think about the probability of a plane crashing. Is it likely that the plane that you get on is going to crash? No. Is it possible? Yes. So what I would like you to do is, if you're afraid of flying, remind yourself, just because it's possible doesn't mean it's probable. That the probability that your plane is going to crash is very low. That you're safe. When you get on that plane, I want you to take some deep breaths. I want you to calm your body. Just in and out. Just some deep breaths. Just remind yourself, tell yourself, I'm safe. The probability of this plane crashing is very low. Anxiety is going to tell me it's really high, but I know it's really low. And here's one thing I want to give you. This is something Mel Robbins talks about, is an anchor thought. When you get on that plane, you're usually going somewhere. Think about an anchor thought of when you get off of that plane, when your trip has ended, when your flight has ended. What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about? Maybe if you're going to see your grandchildren, maybe you're thinking about, oh, okay, I've got a thought of seeing my grandchildren, an image, and me hugging them, and the feeling I get. I want you to hold on to that image. I want you to hold on to that thought. Maybe you're on a business trip. Maybe you're going to dinner tonight with some colleagues, and you're gonna go eat steak. I want you just to have that image that you're getting off that plane, it's been successful, and now you're going to that steakhouse to eat that great steak, right? I want you to see yourself. I want you to believe that you're going to be safe, and that whatever you're looking forward to when you get off this plane, that you're actually going to be able to accomplish, that it's going to happen, okay? I want you to see this experience through. I don't want you to stop with the thought that I'm going to die on this plane, because that's anxiety talking. Okay, y'all? Tragedies happen all the time. Tragedies happen all the time. It's unfortunate. We don't know. We don't know when we're going to take our last breath. And that's why I'm so focused. We only got one life. We only got one life, only one life on this earth. And that's why I'm so focused on just getting the most out of life, because we don't know when it's going to end. And you got to be grateful for the moments that you have had in your life. You got to be grateful that you've had those moments and that you still get another moment, right? It's unfortunate the way that people in tragic situations die. Yes, of course. Not arguing that at all. I want you to get the most out of your life. I want you, while you have life on earth, to get the most out of your life. And my hope is that none of you experience tragedy, that none of your family or friends that you ever experience, they ever experience tragedy. And if it does happen, just understand that that's life. That's life. Much love to you guys. Much love. Thoughts and prayers to all the people involved in the American Airlines crash. It's awful. And we just got to find a way to push that anxiety back, to throw that anxiety against the wall and say, you're not going to control me. You're not going to trick me. You're not going to control my mind and my body. I know that you're trying to beat me. You're trying to defeat me. And I'm not going to let you. I'm going to continue to enjoy my life, even though there's tragic things that happen in the world. I'm going to continue to enjoy this life I was given. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching tonight. We'll be back next week with another tough conversation. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup.